Hi there, Wally here. In today's video, we are going to talk about data analysis, more specifically pivot table. If you're not familiar with this term, fear not, because we will learn the basics on this session, all right? But before we start, let me ask you to subscribe to this channel. If you enjoy our content, this is the right time. So just click on the button, subscribe, and if you like to be notified once I release a new video, just hit the bell and allow all the notifications. So let's move it on. Feel free to pick your preferred beverage, have a seat, and let's enjoy the video. Very good. Let's take a look over here. We have the satellite. Satellite is the tool. If you have no idea about satellite, we have some videos in this channel talking about it. But the main idea here is I would like to collect some information and then drill down, use my spreadsheet to do some analysis. And Wally, what kind of analysis? We'll see in a few. There are some ways that you can export the data from your satellite. One of them is this, like we are in the host content host. I can see some information, OS, lifecycle environment, content view. I can export information from here. Just hit the button and export, and then we have some specific fields. Different ways is if you go to all hosts and export, this is going to create a CSV as well. The nice thing here is you can add some additional fields that will not be on that screen. So for instance, let me pick all of them, save. This will be a big mess for a bit. You can see a lot of columns, hard to read, but if you hit the button to export, you will be exporting all the columns from this page, okay? Let me reset this real quick, but back, we are not going to use this one right now. Different ways, and I personally like this one, is using hammer. So for instance, we have this one, hammer --csv host list. You can see those comma, and because of that, we can assume this is a CSV file, a comma separated value, okay? And we can import this on any spreadsheet like Microsoft Excel or LibreOffice. In this video, I'm gonna be using LibreOffice, but let me know in the comments if you like to see the same approach but using Microsoft Excel or maybe Google Spreadsheet. All right, we have this one. From here, I know that I don't have too much information, but let me get one machine like this one. I can use hammer host info -- name and node one. Let me clean up the screen. And then I have some additional information. But as you can see, this is not a CSV format. This is hard to parse, or maybe I have to do a lot of work here. If you're not, my friend, you can always be using --csv in the beginning of the line. And now we have the whole information about this server in a CSV format. If you take a look, the first line over here is just the header, and the second one is about this specific server, okay? So let me copy a command that I have already. This is gonna accelerate this process. So this one over here is just to create the header. You can see that I'm redirecting this to tmp full report.csv. And I have a second one. Let me clean up the screen. So basically I'm doing a nested hammer. You can see that I'm doing a for over here. I'm passing a hammer, CSV, no headers. I'm getting the host list. I'm getting only the ID and FQDN of that machines. I'm retrieving only the field, the ID field, and I'm searching by everyone, different from satellite.king.lab. So I'm passing this to a different hammer. You can see I'm generating a CSV output, no headers, again, host info, and I'm passing the ID of that machine. And I'm appending this to tmp full report.csv. Like this is a basic of hammer, a basic of shell. If you are not familiar with them, take a look on the videos that we have in this channel about bash and hammer, and definitely they will clarify about those topics, okay? And if you have questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. All right, we have this file over here right now. So let me do this. Let me open this file. So we can see the file that we are trying to open. We can get a preview at the bottom. This is okay. Let's keep everything as standard. Like we have the tab, the comma, This is the standard on LibreOffice. If you don't have the comma selected, this will be a problem because you can see at the bottom now that we have no delimiter. It is just one column. So be sure that the comma is already selected, and then we can hit OK. Very cool. Let me do this now. Let me maximize this screen. I'm gonna bump a little bit the font size, and we can start playing. So if you take a look, I have just a few lines over here, like 6 lines. It is not too much, but eventually you can get like 600, 6,000, 600,000 lines, and that's okay. Okay, this model is just to give us some idea about the power of pivot table and how we can get some information, how we can drill down this information. With a small amount of data, it is better because we can definitely play around and understand some concept. And after that, feel free to apply in your real world scenario. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Some things that I like to do when working with any kind of data. Okay, if you scroll down, you can see that I lost my header. I don't like to get lost about the header, so I like to freeze this one. And how to do that? You can click on View, Freeze Cells, Freeze First Row. This is gonna keep your row on the top, always. Okay. Another point, we can click on this button, Auto Filter, or eventually Data Auto Filter. This is going to create an auto filter on all the columns that you have. And what is the auto filter? So let's take a look. If I click, easily I can see all the entries. I can select or unselect all of them. I can filter by one specific information, like node 01, and that's it. I can see all the information pretty quick. I can also play with colors, conditions, I can sort, I can do a lot of stuff. This is pretty useful, okay? So now we have those filters on all the columns. Next is like, you can see this is a bit close, it is tight. I would like to add some space, and then I can click over here, and then I can click over here, I can click over here. But this is boring because if I have like 20, 30, 100 columns, I have to do this to all of them. So let me show you another trick. And again, this is valid for most of the applications that work like this. You can click on this corner, you select the whole spreadsheet, pick one that you like to, like can be the first, the second, the third, doesn't matter. You can click and they will be reordered automatically or resized automatically. And I know this is wow, this is amazing. All right, now we are ready to start our play. Let's take a look on some columns. Like we have ID, UUID, name, organization. At this moment, I will not stick too much to the columns or what they mean, but let's take a look on the fields. Like, okay, this is managed. I can know if this machine is managed or not. And then this is a valid question. How many machines I do have managed or not? You can see that you have here organization and location. At this moment, I have just one organization, just one location. But can you imagine? Maybe I have like 2, 3, 4 organizations with multiple locations, and I would like to drill down. I would like to get some information and count the number of systems for that specific area. So definitely this is a valid information. Name, pretty good information because we know which machine we are talking about. When the machine will install, some fields you see that will be empty, no information, and this can happen. Uptime, global status, this is the kind of information that for me, okay, if there is an error, I have to fix. If there is a warning, I have to be cautious. I have to be aware. And then how can I filter easily that kind of information? The build status, this means my machine is already installed or it is something new. I'm building this machine yet, so I can get this one. IPv4, IPv6, and go on. Like if we scroll to the left or to the right, domains, how many machines I have in this domain, in that domain. Let's assume that you have multiple domains and then you'd like to know how many machines per domain in that specific scenario or configuration. So you can see that we have potential data here, like that could bring some valid information. okay? The network, like I know each 80 is very common on rel 5, 6, 7, but on rel 8 and 9, the nomenclature is different. So how many machines I do have using the old nomenclature? Do I have any rel 8 or 9 using each 80? This is a good question. Interface, MAC address, and again, the base OS, how many operating systems I have in that specific version, minor version, major version. This is the kind of situation that I don't like too much when we add like multiple informations in one single field, because eventually you have to parse this somehow. There are applications that will create like multiple lines to the same system just to provide one information, the second information, the third information. In this report, you can see that we have everything like a long value, because this is like a JSON output in a single cell. So this we will not be using this one for the sake of this video because this is more advanced, but definitely we can use the tool or any external tool to parse this one and help us to understand or to consume that information. See, and I have all parameters. I have different columns. All parameters 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them with a bunch of information. So additional information, the owner, ID, owner type, additional info. If my machine is a virtual, bare metal, different vendors, lifecycle environment, if my machine is on library or different lifecycle environment, if I'm consuming content from a content view, content source, which satellite or capsule is providing content to that specific set of servers, errata, bug fix, security advisor, enhancement. So you can see a lot of information here. I'm not gonna pass through all of them. There are some that will be playing around. For example, if I register my machine against satellite, I'm using one activation key, and which activation key was used to register that specific server. In this case was AKREL. In this one was AK default. Can I see the average or the exact number of systems registered using AKREL or AK default? Definitely you can. And system purpose. If you're not familiar with system purpose, no problem. Let me know in the comments if you like to know about more about system purpose. Definitely I can create a video about that. But here we can see some service level. Like I have machines that are self-support, some that are premium, standards, and some of them with no information. Also, I have some machines that are in production environment, some of them in test, some of them with no information. I have also some machines that are set to RHEL server, Red Hat Enterprise Linux server. Could be workstation, could be compute node, but again, we have some of them RHEL server, some of them with no information. And in add-on, we have no information at all, okay? All right, with that, let me show some questions because I prepared some questions here that will be useful for us just for the sake of this video. Let me put over here, then we can play with. All right, let's start by this. How many systems per organization? In general, what happened is you have like a huge data set, as I mentioned before, and then, okay, organization. I have this organization. I can filter by this organization. I can remove any empty line. Maybe you can see, or eventually you can see things like this. Like I have empty and acme. So I would like to remove empty and then just play around. But this is not the goal here. Let's skip this one. And let's say that I have this filter. I can pick acme, just select that one. I can select all of them. And if you see at the bottom over here, we can see the count of 6. So I know that I have 6 servers on this organization. And then I'm gonna go to this file, for instance, and I'll say 6. Then the next question, how many systems per location? Same idea. I'm gonna select all of them. Or eventually, if you add multiple filters, you can lose track. For instance, let me do this. I have this filter. and then I have this filter. See, the icon over here will change. You can see a dot on the bottom right corner on this, and then eventually I have different filters in different columns. So if I try to unset all of them, maybe I can forget someone, and this can cause some confusion during this research. So one thing that happens a lot is you can click on auto filter. Auto filter will disable everything because we remove the auto filter, and then you can add it back. So once you do this, there is no filter. All the information will be valid and presented at this moment. All right, if we go to the next, systems per location, I can pick my location, and once again, I can select, I can count 6, and that's okay. I can come over here and say 6. It is easy. It is not big deal. We are not seeing pivot table yet. I'm just showing how normally people do, okay? How many systems using host group? This is nice because now we have something to filter. I can remove the empty, and then how many? We have 1. All right, this works, but what is the main problem over here? The big deal is, let's suppose that you have this data, you proceed with all those questions, you have all those numbers after hours and hours of analysis. And then once you're ready to roll this information, because you create like a presentation, you create some graphs, you did all the work, then your colleague came to you and say, hey, my friend, I just regenerate this information. And now instead of 7 rows, I can see 700, or maybe I can see 10. And then you say, man, I have to do this all again. Like we are seeing here, maybe 10 sets of information, but eventually you have 20, 50, 100, and then will be some additional hours just to collect this information once again. So this is like the bad point of view about this kind of situation. And now let me introduce you to pivot table. I like to keep this one, the auto filter, because auto filter will help me once I'm beginning with the pivot table and I'm not totally sure. Don't trust me, don't trust in the data. Like do your comparison. You have your pivot table will show you some information. You can definitely come back here and do the cross check. Like if you go to your pivot table and your pivot table is telling you that the host group has only 1 entry, you can return to this page, you can filter the host group, and you can be sure if you have just 1 or not. So let me clean up the filter and how the pivot table works. You can see this icon, insert or edit pivot table. Different way is data, pivot table, insert. This will select your data set automatically. Okay, you don't have to do anything. Current selection. If you see some wrong selection, then definitely you can fix. But in general, those tools are very smart and they'll be able to get the whole data set that you do have. All right. Let's use the current selection. I can set the data source. I don't wanna. I wanna use the current selection. Hit OK. And then check this out. We have these 4 fields that will help us to do some analysis. So the first one, or the first question I would like to ask is how many systems per organization? You can see that on the right side, we have available fields. Available fields is the first row, is the header of this file. So, Wally, if I do not have the header, what will happen? You will be facing some weird stuff here because you'll be seeing like 4 capsules, some empty information. So be sure that you have the header as a first line of your CSV or any spreadsheet that you do have. So organization is the name. So I have organization. We have some fields here in general. And once this is very basic, we are going to use basically row fields and data fields. Eventually, I'm going to use the column fields and filters as well. But the most used here will be row fields and data fields. So let me pick organization, just drag and drop, easy, simple, and hit OK. And now you can see a new tab or a new sheet was created and we can see Acme. This is good. Wally, something's wrong because there is no number. Yeah, not yet. But keep in mind, if I have multiple organizations, they should be here, okay? I have just one, that's okay. You can do a right click and click on properties, and then you can see all the information. So if we return to this one, I know that I have Acme, and the main question is how many systems per organization. So I would like to count the systems or the name, like the column name, because those are my systems in this specific scenario. I would like to count them. I can pick the name, drag and drop to data field. You can see that I'm doing a sum. I don't want a sum. I would like to count. So I can do a double click and check this out. We have a bunch of information. Sum, count, average, median, max, mean. Wally, are you gonna pass through all of them? Nope, 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 not today. Count. Count is the one that you're looking for. Okay, we press OK. Let's come back to our guy. And then that's it. Now I have 6 systems for this specific organization. Okay, can I trust you? Let's take a look. We have organization, Acme. I have no space. I can select. I can see the number over here, 6. All right. How can I use the pivot table to help me to see the systems on this specific organization? Anytime, click on property, and then you can play around, like name. Let me put drag and drop again. There is an order over here. You can put like a name on top of organization or below the organization. I'm gonna show you both. Look at that. Now we have that specific organization with the systems. So I have one system with this name, one system with this name, another system with this name. And then if I sum up all of them, the number here, we can see at the bottom, count is equal 6. So I'm counting all of them and I have the total of 6 on this organization. Okay? Wally, that's good. That's amazing. But what if I added some additional information over here? Let's do this live. Let's suppose that I have my node 6. Then if I came over here and refresh, node 6 is not here yet. And why is that? This is like a tip or a trick that you can do. And again, this will be valid for most of the applications that will work with your data like this. Let's click on properties, source and destination. You can see that my selection is starting on A1, the cell A1, right left corner, which is this one. And it is ending on CB, row 7, like this one. This is the row 7, and CB is the last column over there, CB. So one thing that you can do here is, let me update this to 700. I don't have data up to 700 or 7,000, up to you, based on your data set or the size of your data set. But let me set this one by default. And then what will happen is, now let's take a look. The node was node 6. I have my node 6 over here. Even if I refresh, no need because node 6 was already over there. Let's do this. Let's copy this one again. Let me paste 7, node 7, refresh, node 7. So, which means if my colleague came to me and say, hey, I updated my data set, I updated this script or this CSV because I run the script, and now we have maybe 120, 2,000 new lines. Can you regenerate the data, the analysis real quick? Definitely. Like you can just import this one once you have new entries or you deleted new old entries. What will happen is you need to go to your pivot table, just hit refresh, and then the data or the analysis that you created previously will be recalculated automatically. Pretty cool. Let me show, before we proceed, some additional configuration here. In options, there are some options that will not be selected by default. You can see that we have empty line here. Eventually, I can ignore them because I have no information that should be like empty line, and that can cause some confusion. Empty line is one. I like to use also this show expand collapse button and enable drill down or enable drill to details. They will work together and you see why. I have Acme, and then if I drill down Acme, check this out. Now I have my number 8, the total of 8, and then I have those systems. Wally, where are located those systems? If we came over here, I have New West, New West, New West. Let's suppose this is North Carolina and North Carolina. I came to my properties, location. Let me put organization. I didn't mention yet like the order, but I will. And then I have New West. But Wally, you changed it like the data set is updated. Something's wrong. Yes, because we need to refresh. So if I came over here and refresh, look at that. Now I can see New West and North Carolina and those 111, the number 1 here and the total of 8. But if I collapse those, now I can see 6 and 2. So 2 in North Carolina and 6 on New West. So this is definitely a pretty neat and pretty useful feature that we have, and that can be pretty powerful. Okay, let me see if we do have anything else here. Yeah, we have add filters. We can talk about filters later. So let's move it on. Let's keep going, and then we answer our first question. So the number of systems that I do have is 8 now because we faked some information on the data set, but that's okay. Let's keep like this. This will give us some additional options to play around. Same here, ID. Can I confirm if I do have any duplicated ID? Like this pivot table can help us also to find out some issues that you may are facing your problem or in your data set. We can keep this to the end, to the final, but let's keep going. How many systems per organization? So normally now we can see like how many systems per organization. We know that this is right, this is accurate, but I don't want to see like location, the name. I just want to see the information that I'm looking for. What I can do is just remove location and name. Let me show before I remove them. If I move the order, as I said before, I can change the order, and definitely this will change how you can visualize some information. Like now I have the systems, and this system is under New West. This is under New West. This is weird. Like when you see system and the location, this is not a good presentation. So my advice to you guys, feel free to play with your data, and then, okay, this is much better. In North Carolina, I can see that I do have 2 machines. And also the filter now is gonna work fine. Before, let's take a look. It is terrible. I cannot filter by that specific place easily. I can use those filters over here, but it is not something simple, okay? So once I put the name at the bottom, I can see. What if I put the name in the beginning? Terrible as well. So doesn't make much sense. And then again, you need to play with your data just to be sure which kind of visualization will provide the information that you're looking for. And this is the main idea of pivot table. All right. So we have our first job done, organization, and the number is 8. Then you can do something like this. How many systems per organization? And then just rename this guy. And now you have one specific tab in your spreadsheet that's gonna give you that specific information. Okay, should I proceed and do the same stuff? Like I have to insert a new pivot table. One thing that you can do is come over here, duplicate this sheet. You have now the second one. What is the next question? How many systems per location? So I can once again update. And now if you take a look, once we did all the setup in the first sheet, like this is going to pick like 700. If I create a new pivot table in the first tab, what's going to happen is, hey, let me pick the information from the first cell to the last cell of this specific data set. And then again, if someone add or remove some information, some rows, maybe you can miss them. And with this, no big deal, because this is going up to 700, the row 700, okay? So from here, location, pretty simple. I can come back, I can remove my organization, I can put my location, and then there you go. Now I have my location, North Carolina 2, New West 6. That's it, simple, okay? I have 8, and if I like to drill down, North Carolina 2 and New West 6. Again, you don't need to do this one here. This is just for the sake of the instruction and the purpose of this video. But in general, you will be working only with the spreadsheet, okay? You can work with your pivot tables, those sheets, and the main data, just to cross-check the information that you do have. I'm doing this just to keep simple. How many systems using host group? Again, I'm gonna duplicate this one. Let me copy the name, rename this, properties. I'm gonna remove location, and the information that we are looking for is host group, this one. Oops. Host group. I have to move to this place. Let me remove location. Now there you go. So I have one machine consuming content from this host group, and I have 7 with empty line. Don't trust me? Let's give it a shot. Let's pick host group. We have one line over here, and let's pick the empty lines. If I select, like if I select nothing, you can see the counting over there will be nothing, but now we can see 7, and then 7 empty lines, which means I have 7 machines with no host group associated, and I have 1 with host group associated. Wally, can you show me which machine is consuming this host group? Definitely we can. We know that we have the name. Let's put the name underneath the host group, and then check this out. I have the host group, rel 8 scap, and the node 02 is the one consuming that information, consuming that host group. This is good. Can you show me the IP address of that machine as well? Definitely we can. If we have this information in the data source or in the data set, you can add anything that you want. You can see that we have the IPv4 here. Just drag and drop, and then there you go. So, okay, let's suppose that I have here multiple lines. I can easily remove this one. This is the filter. And then I have just this machine, this host group. This machine is consuming content from that host group. This is the IP address of that machine. And we have the filter. Let me put this back, and then we can keep this. Pretty cool. We have this one, just one. Let's keep going. And like the drill is pretty much similar to all of them. Duplicate, and then manage versus unmanaged systems. Like, do I have this one? You can do something like this. Manage. Like we do have one column here called manage. So what I can do is properties. I can remove all of them, and then manage. Okay, we have 8 as false. If I had, let's suppose that I have the value of true, I should be seeing like how many false and how many true. Okay, pretty simple. Global status. One question that maybe you are facing, okay, I'm duplicating this one. I have this information here because I'm applying some filters. Is this gonna affect the previous one? No, they are independent. If you refresh here, this information will not be updated. The information then will get updated only if you came to the main source and then you do a refresh. Then on this case, your data in that specific sheet is gonna get updated, okay? Global status. So let's duplicate this one. Let's rename. Properties, manage, global status. You can see this one here. Like in LibreOffice, there is no search field to type like, let me see everything with status, because eventually you have like a lot of fields. I'm gonna probably submit a request for enhancement with them to this, but I believe to be a valid feature. And we have this, if I'm not wrong, on Microsoft Excel. If you use this on Microsoft Excel, let me know in the comments. Like if we do have this field to search the information. That's pretty cool. So global status, let's put over there, error and warning. So let me show you this. Let's come back. We have the global status over here. Check this out. We have this error. So we have 2 plus 3, 5 errors, and then 2 warnings. 5 errors and 2 warnings. And this is wrong. Because of that, it is nice to go and check in your dataset what is happening. Because if we take a look here, let's review. Like we have the global status, and I'm counting the name of the systems. So this is not related to that field. I would like to count that specific field, which is global status. So in this case, just keep in mind that if you're duplicating the pivot table, the tables that you have, the sheet that you have, you can get rid of this and put the correct and accurate information. Wally, should I keep some? Nope. You can use counts. You can play around with them and see the results, but for the sake of this one, counts. All right, something's wrong because we can see clearly that this is not matching with the information that we have here, like 2 plus 3, 5, and then 2. And this is telling us that error is 6. If you remember, we can check this out. We have the host group, we have the filter in place. So always keep in mind that if you have any filter, and once doing this like cross check, this can cause some confusion eventually. So my advice, click here to remove. There you go. Now we can see the whole information, the whole data set, and we can see that we have 6 errors and 2 warnings. So if we add back, there you go. And if we go to global status, now they are correct. How can I check this? Eventually you can properties, add a name, then you can see the machines that are here, the machines that are supposed to be consuming that content or to have that value. And then you can come back and you can see, okay, my filter was in place and this is what was causing that problem. This is definitely a nice example. All right, we have the global status, build status. Let me copy the name. Build status. Let's get rid of them. We have the build status over here. Build status as count. And okay, I have this machine installed. So for the sake of satellite, build status is when you are building a machine, like when you're installing a new machine. If you are just installing a new one right now, the status should not be installed, should be installing. And then we have different status for this field. In this case, I can tell for sure, okay, I have 8 machines already installed. Can I see the name of them? Or let's suppose that I have something pending. Which one is pending? Definitely. You can pick the name, put here, and then there you go. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Let's create a new one here that is a little bit different. Let me duplicate this. Organization, location, and IP address. So I have my organization, I have my location, and I have my IP address, IPv4 address. And check this out. For Alberta, I have just one entry over here. North Carolina, I have 2. I can drill down. US, I have those numbers, 4. But again, if you have multiple lines, I have no idea the number. I would like to see these numbers. Then in this case, I can get the system or I can get the IPv4 address. I can put here, count, and that's it. Now, if I drill down, I have 1 on AB, 2 NC, 5 on US, totaling 8. Okay. How many systems per domain? This is now getting a little bit repetitive, and I'm here now just showing different scenarios that we can play with the data that you do have. The main point here is how many systems per domain. Okay, do I have any column with domain? Like we can see a bunch of stuff. That field here to search would be amazing. There you are, network domain. So if I pick my domain and put on row fields, I can see that I have a King Lab, but my big question is how many systems? I can get my name or the name of the systems, put over here, count, there we go. I have 8 systems on this domain. Let's suppose that I have multiple domains on this satellite. And keep in mind, if you go to your web UI, because of the taxonomy on the top, like here, I'm gonna see only the information from this organization. If I go to a different organization or different location, eventually, based on the data that you're exporting, this export is gonna bring back only the information that you're able to view on this specific configuration. If you do that one via Hammer, that's gonna bring everything, the whole information. So you don't have to worry which environment should I be able to see king.lab and all the domains that I do have. Like via Hammer, you should be able to see the whole thing, all right? Let me know, guys, if you already work with pivot table, because this is pretty useful for subscription information, from hardware information, a lot of stuff. Like we can play with anything. Kind of interface. This is nice because, as I mentioned before, let's see here the type. Like I have the identifier. If you do not remember, let's come back to this one. Let's close and let's check. Like we have this interface. The field I'm looking for is network interface identifier 1. And then we have those types of different interfaces. Okay, let me go back to this properties. Let's get rid of them. Identifier 1. I'll just put this one and check this out. We have ENS16, ENS192, and ET80. How many systems? You know. Let's put the name here, count. Okay, I have 3 ET80, I have 1 ENS192, and I have 4 160. Can I check which systems are using only ET80? Because I would like to be sure that they are RHEL 7, 6, or 5. Definitely, we can put the name. However, by the name, I have no idea what is the type of this operating system. Can I remove this one because this is too much? I would like to see only ET80. Definitely we can. Let's remove. Let's just keep this one. Do I have the base OS? I have no idea. We have to return to the main dataset and let's check. Okay, I can see this one. This seems to be fair. Operating system. So let me go to this one. Properties. Operating system. And I forgot. Operating system, operating system. So operating system, operating system. We can drag and drop. And now I can tell you for sure, this is my Red Hat 6.9, 6.9 and 6.9. And here as well, this works. If you click and pick any of them, this will resize all the columns. Pretty good. Can I get the IP address because I like to check some additional information on those machines? Easily you can. You have the IPv4 address. Let's put over here at the bottom, and then you do have this IP address. They are the same because this is one of the lines that I duplicated. But if you have different IP address, definitely this is gonna show you the information that you're looking for, the correct information you're looking for. Now let's go to this one. This is the system purpose level. We are almost in the end of this video. And system purpose. And I believe you are totally excited working with pivot tables. Let me get rid of all of them here. You can just drag and drop to available fields. That is okay. System purpose. So we have service level, usage, role, and add-on. All right, check this out. We have system purpose, we have different system purpose, development test, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is not nice at this moment because I have no systems. I would like to count how many systems. Then if I get the name of the system and put over here, okay, I can see some additional stuff. Like I have 3 systems that are Red Hat Enterprise Linux. They are from production. I have 2 that has no information at all. I have 1 which is development test. Okay, which system and also self-support. We can do things like this. Let's put the name and put here. So this is gonna create some sort of arrangement that will show you. I have this machine in production, node 5, 6, and 7. They have no system purpose at all, none of them. So eventually what I can do is remove this field, add on. I don't need it because none of them are using. So let me get rid of this. Here's the name of the system. If I would like to get the number, check this out. I have machines with no information, no system purpose or purpose role, capsule 1 and node 1. I have machines that are in production, like we can see production, node 5, 6, and 7. Development, I can see this server. Production, like this can be a bit weird if we are taking a look on this kind of level. Now let me show on this one, because for this kind of situation, I like to use this one. Let me just keep 1 here, like the level. Okay, this will be better to see this feature. Normally we do not combine all of them together, but this is gonna give a nice example. We have systems, and the systems are consuming or are using this system purpose service level. We have different systems, node 3 and 4 to premium, node 2 self-support, node 5, 6, and 7 to standard, and we have capsule 1 and node 1 with no information at all. One kind of visualization that maybe you can use here is this one. Not here, but here. All right, now we have this. We have all the systems, and we have the system purpose level, premium, self-support, standard, empty, but there is no information. And you know why. We didn't add the information yet, like system purpose level. Let's pick this one here, drag to this guy, let's count, and boom. And from here, you can also work with like format cells, like if this has a number, will be in this color. If there is no number, will be like with a dark background or something like that. That will help you to identify easily. But let's suppose that from here, I would like to see only machines that are premium. I can remove and I can see only the premium. Pretty quick, pretty fast. I would like also to see the self-support. Okay, this machine is supposed to be self-support. That is okay. Let me see which one is standard. Okay, node 6 and 7, they should be production. Or they should be like, not production, they should be premium. Because of that, I would like to see this one easily. Or I can see all of them all together. So this is the kind of visualization that you can definitely play around. Let me duplicate this and put another field, which will be not the service level, but if the machine is, let's take a look, production or development, like purpose usage, system purpose usage. How to change this? Property, purpose usage. Over here, we can remove this. Also over here, we can remove this. Okay. Count. Don't forget to put count. And now we can see. So which machine is supposed to be development, production, or empty? If I have like empty, okay, something is wrong. This should be my production, because this is a capsule server and a lot of servers or content hosts will be connecting against this one. And node 1 should be like my production server because I use this as a web application. So I have to go to my satellite. I have to do some configuration. For example, let's pick capsule 1, overview. I have the system purpose over here. And then, okay, this will be a Linux server. This will be a premium. And the usage is production. I will not set a release, neither add-on. Okay, this information got updated on satellite. What will happen is next time I export this data using that hammer command, the output over here, and assuming that I just came to this page and update this information, what is expected to happen, it is something like this. Let's see, capsule is the row number 2, or we define it something like this. This will be the brand new information, okay? So once we came over here and do the refresh, oops, now that guy is gone. And we can see like production. Let's see production. Now we can see that capsule 1 was set as production. And if I came over here as well and refresh, I can see the capsule got premium as well. Before was empty. So let's return to this one. Yeah, basically this is the pivot table. Feel free to play around, feel free to take a look, feel free to check all the options. Another option that we have here is work with graphics, different graphics based on the filters that we have. I'm not going to cover this one in this video. This is more advanced and you can do a lot of things using the graphs and the fields and the search. And once you filter something in your pivot table, what will happen is that the graph will get automatically updated, which is pretty nice. But again, we can create another video, different video, just to show this kind of examples. But yeah, I believe the main message here was you have your data set, you have your information, a bunch of columns, a bunch of rows. You can definitely use the pivot table feature just to create something automated, smart, in a way that, for example, let's suppose that you have like a monthly report that you have to generate, and you are creating this based on a CSV. Like you have a script and that script will generate a CSV, and every month or every time you have to get your CSV, you have to parse, you have to do a lot of stuff, manual stuff. So not anymore. Let's get lazy. Create your pivot tables, all the sheets with the pivot table. Don't forget to set like a long shots. And then if you have something like 30, 100, 200, 500 rows, this will cover. If you have something like bigger than that, feel free to put 7,000. So anytime that you rerun this one, this will looking for information up to the 7,000 rows or 7,000 row. So which is pretty cool, pretty great. Okay. Okay, folks, this was the video for today. I hope you enjoy. Again, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this channel, feel free to hit the button subscribe if you're not yet. Feel free to share with your colleague that is working with the data. That colleague that spent like days, weeks working on graphs and analysis when work with spreadsheet just to provide that amazing report. I believe that this person is gonna love pivot table, and that's it. Feel free to share in the comments if you have any experience, any problems. I'll be more than glad to help. Feel free to join the Discord channel. You can find in the description and shout your question over there. We'll be more than glad to help you. All right? Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.